My Ramblings, this episode, the weaponization of religion. If you go back to the late 1970s, maybe the early 1980s, the Republican Party took a big step that um, really, I think, using today's terms, tried to weaponize my religion, other people's religions against them. In other words, they adopted into their platform the stance against abortion. And the implication during that time was that because we're against abortion, whatever else we stand for, you have to be behind it because, well, we're against abortion. And the thoughts I started having at the time is, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. And it kind of launched me into, there's no way in hell I'm going to vote for somebody, um, whatever else they stand for, whatever else they're proposing to do, just because they're taking this stance, say, against abortion. Now, no matter how hard I try, I cannot bring myself to be an advocate for abortion. I just can't do it. It just goes too fundamentally against, I guess, Catholic education and what have you. But because of the way I perceive the issue as being used, um, it takes a lot of reflection, a lot of thought, and over years, if not a couple of decades. But um, it really says that. Well, let's start with the framers of our Constitution knew the threats of having a religious-based government. Um, there's examples throughout history where that just actually becomes another form of tyranny. But we live in this time, and so an example would be Iran. Uh, Islam is a predominant religion in that part of the world, but their government is basically based on the religion of Islam. And the effect of that is instead of Islam being a religion in Iran, it's actually a social system and becomes a form of tyranny. The government dictates, even though you might say they're valid religious beliefs, but the government dictates what the people will believe and how they can act. And there's laws that address things like murder and that sort of thing. You know, but moving on. So it pushes me into a position that abortion cannot be a political issue. It might be an issue of rights and stuff, and it's really not my place. Of course, I'm not a bishop, I'm not a pope, I'm not a priest, but it's a personal issue, and it should not be in the political realm. The dangers of weaponizing tenets of one religion and imposing them on everybody else is just dangerous for a republic, a democracy like ours. And it's there's more I would want to say on this, but I think it led to the de-evolution of the Republican Party. We got people wanting feudal lordships. I say as a joke. They want to swear fealty to this guy, and in exchange, they have a little lordship that they feudal over. But um, I think that the issue doesn't belong in the realm of politics. It's dangerous, and it's a trick to manipulate people, churches, and what have you. And I think in order for us to maintain our liberties and stuff, we have to resist all attempts by one party to manipulate a segment. Um, you know, People have a right to speak out on their religion, But to use it as a weapon against me and say, you know, dictate to me, now I have to vote for you because you're against abortion, just goes against everything that I believe to be the basis of American society. So if you're troubled, amused, enlightened, or just like the video, please hit the like, and thank you much for tuning in.